Well, hey, Worship Workspace community, thank you so much for being here. My name is Dave Dolphin. I'm a part of a website called practicalworshipblog.com. And a couple of days ago, I put this poll in one of the channels where I said, hey, I'm going to make this video, but you get to pick the topic. And overwhelmingly, the topic that won was how to have a hard conversation with a team member. So just to give you a little bit of context, I am currently a worship pastor at a church. I've been a worship pastor at another church. Prior to that, I worked at a publishing company and I was in charge of the entire production department. So all the graphic designers, all of the editors, all the people doing audio and video work, I was in charge of that entire team. And then prior to that, I was the program director at a radio station. So needless to say, I've hired a lot of people, I've fired a lot of people, and I've had a lot of difficult and hard conversations over the last couple of decades. And here's the thing, is that I'm not good at it. Like, even to this very day, it makes me super uncomfortable because I'm a people pleaser. But I've just been in these roles nearly all of my life where I have been in charge to some capacity, and I've just had to. So when I have to have a difficult conversation, there's some things that I keep in mind when I'm having the conversation, or I'm trying to psych myself up to get ready to have the conversation, that if I can put my focus on a more big picture view instead of just this one moment in time, it helps me to see the greater good that this conversation is going to bring out of the situation. The first thing I would do is I would just shoot straight with people. And we always try to find a way to maybe sugarcoat it or make it go over easy. And I mean, that if you can do that, but we have a tendency, I know I do, have a tendency to really want to make this easier and make, this medicine not taste as bad. But I find that actually makes it worse. It's really easy for us to just go overboard on that. Whereas if we can just shoot straight with people, the best way you can love someone is just be honest with them. And I think people appreciate in the long run this honesty. I mean, for example, Simon Cowell has made an entire career being on American Idol and saying the things that he does. And he'll tell you that he's just saying what everyone else is thinking. But here's people that have gone all their lives, and their parents or people just, well-meaning people like, oh yeah, you can sing. Oh yeah, you sound beautiful. And they don't. And someone needs to lovingly come alongside of them. Simon Cowell might not be the best example for lovingly coming alongside someone, but lovingly coming alongside someone and saying, I love you enough to tell you the truth and to shoot straight, and here's the details of this situation. Now you need to balance that with showing the value for the person, that this one area where they're not hitting the mark doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. They might be doing something that is inappropriate, or they're not doing something that is dragging the rest of the team down, or they might be trying hard as they might to be able to hit that benchmark, whatever it is, whether it's maybe singing or playing an instrument, and they try and they try and they try, and it's just not working. So if you can find ways to show value, that you appreciate their commitment to practicing, or if they're a singer, maybe it's about, pitch. They're really good with pitch, but they just don't have the breath support to be able to provide what that song needs. In the long run, I think that people value the honesty, and if you can find ways to value that person and show that this doesn't make them a bad person, but this thing needs to be corrected or it needs to be adjusted, then you're loving that person, you're showing them value, and you're saying, I love you so much that I want you to know this. And yeah, it's not going to be comfortable for that person. It's not going to be comfortable for you. But if you go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off, it is better than prolonging the inevitable. Inevitable?
Inevitable.
Yeah, what she said. The other thing that I would say about having a big picture mindset, and something that I try to keep in mind when I am talking to someone, or I'm trying to, again, psych myself up to be able to have this conversation with this person, and it's this, that when you say no to this person, you're saying yes to the other people on the team. And the reverse is also true. For example, if you say no to an individual, no, you are not meeting the waterline. Maybe you have someone that is coming to rehearsal late and they're not prepared. If you tell that person and have that hard conversation of you're not putting in the work and you need to do this or you're not going to be able to have a place on this team. When you tell that person no, you are telling yes. You're saying yes to the other people on the team that are coming prepared, that are putting in all the work. And the very opposite of that is true as well. If you don't have that conversation, you're essentially saying, yes, this behavior is acceptable and it's okay. And then for the rest of the team, you're saying, no, all that work that you're putting in and how you're spending extra time to learn these parts and to be on time and to learn the material, it really doesn't matter that much. So as you're telling this person no in a uncomfortable conversation, you are saying yes to the rest of the team. And it's funny, like there's been situations where you might have a team member at that publishing company and they're just not making their deadlines and other people are having to pick up the slack. When you do let that person go, and this is of course after having conversations and making sure that the expectations are clear and all of that, but when you do finally let that person go, their demeanor, the rest of the team, it goes up because you're saying yes to that team, that what you do brings value to the company and I want you to continue doing that. Not out of fear, but just out of that it's a way of showing value for the rest of the team, all the other people that are putting in the work. So hopefully that is helpful. I love speaking about the practicality side of leading worship, working with a band and rehearsals and things like that. But a lot of what it means to be practical when it comes to worship leading comes down to leadership and just basic leadership principles. And so that's why at the YouTube channel, we always offer ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. And on the podcast, we help you lead a worship band and be a leader of people. So if you haven't already checked out the content there, if you liked this, there's more where that came from. Just check it out. It's all at practicalworshipblog.com.